Hey, it's new. So today I want to do a story time video about when my son almost got kidnapped. So I'm gonna do a lot of laughing throughout this video because now that it's been about 3-4 years, it's funny now, but it was not funny when this situation happened. So mind you, I'm laughing now. It was not funny then. And I'm in the living room and cars that are going by my back window, so sorry about all the noise and stuff. But okay, so as you all know, I'm from San Diego, California, and I am Mexican and black. And I used to take my son to the park a lot when he was young, and I'm an overbearing mother. Like, I like chase my son around, I'm playing with him, and I'm watching everything that goes on with my son. So when we were younger, we used to go to this park. It's in a certain part of San Diego called East Dago. And East Dago is more like Hispanic, more Spanish, Mexican in East Dago. So when I was younger, I used to go to the same park with like all my cousins in my Sanchez part of my family. And I used to, so it's like closer to where like my Nana Lucy used to live, my Nana Martha. Like, it just reminds me of kind of my childhood. And I've already explained, like, when I was younger, I spent a lot of time with the Mexican side of my family. I know y'all can't hear me over that big truck. But, so we're at this park. Like I said, this is a park my whole family goes to still to this day. This is the park that we grew up playing at and everything. And my son is lighter than me. He got colored eyes, curly hair. At the time, I want to say he was like 2. He was probably 2 at the time. So we're at this park and my son's playing, and I'm like walking behind my son, but my son starts playing with other children, so I kind of take a step back, but I'm not like right up under him like I normally am. And I'm just kind of looking around, and it's this lady like with her phone out, and she's taking pictures of like all the kids that are playing. And it's a lady there breastfeeding. She's taking pictures of the lady that's breastfeeding. And I'm like, what is going on with this lady? So I'm still watching my son. I'm kind of calling him back now, like, no, you need to play over here. So the lady goes up and she takes a picture. She's like walking up on the lady. The lady's sitting on a blanket breastfeeding her child, and she walks up and she's like taking pictures. It's like, okay, I'm not crazy. You are taking pictures of everybody at the park. But so she's like taking pictures of the lady who's breastfeeding. And I'm just like, what is wrong with this woman? So I'm like, let me mind my business. Let me go back over here and make sure my son is okay. So Kai's like running. He runs around like the little slide thing, and I'm at the other side of him. So he goes back and he's playing with someone, and I see her take a picture. So this is like she had to be like mid-30s, probably early 40s, Hispanic lady. I don't know what her problem was. I think she was on some kind of drugs or something was going on with her. She wasn't all the way there. But she took a picture of my son. And then I put my son in, I'm like telling her, like, stay away from my son, stay away from my child, back up. And I like go to put my son in the swing, and like I said, he's still 2, so he's in like the baby swing, and I'm swinging him back and forth. And she like takes another picture. So I take my son out and I'm like, let's go over here. So she walks over there and she's like still taking pictures of my son. So I'm sorry, but the mama bear was like, excuse me, you need to delete those pictures of my son. And like, she gets nasty with me. She starts screaming like, she's trying to take my son. She's taking my baby. My baby. And I'm like, because we're talking, me and her, and I'm telling her to delete pictures of my son. And I'm like, what the hell's going on? So like people like the park like ranger, I guess, I don't know, they start coming over there, and she turned this story like, literally, I never met this woman before in my life. I'm at the park with my son and I kidnapped her son. I kidnapped her son. Yeah, let me say it again. I kidnapped her son. So I'm like, are you kidding me? And then I go nuts and I'm like, you crazy, you know, delete those pictures of my son, like I said. And she goes on to tell like the person that works at the park, like, yeah, she's trying to kidnap my son, and that's my child, and she's getting loud and stuff. And I'm like ready to fight her at this point because this is like kind of like maybe 2-3 minutes of going back and forth, and now you're accusing me of stealing your child. Now you're trying to make it seem like my son is your son, and it pissed me off more because the person that worked at the park was like, ma'am, like, so what are you doing here? To me. And I was like, no, that's my son. I don't know who she is or what she's talking about. She's like, that's a black girl. How is that her son? I'm sorry, but he's my son. He's my child. No matter how dark I am or how light he is or whatever, or you may, be around the same color as my child, but that's still my son. And then randomly, like, I look back and my cousin is like walking up. And mind you, my cousin is no black in her at all, no African American. She is all Mexican. So she comes and she's like, what's going on? And she's like, this is trying to steal my baby and my baby and my baby. And then I see my other cousin like walking down the hill. So two of my cousins just show up because, like I said, we all take our kids to this park. It's our childhood park. That's just, what we do. So my other cousin's coming and she's like waving her over. And then they're like talking to like the little park ranger or whatever. And she's like, that's her son. That's my cousin. This is my cousin's baby. And she's like getting hyped and she's like mad. And then the park ranger was like, so you're the black girl's cousin and the little boy is her son? He's so confused. He's like, I'm just going to have to call law enforcement. And I'm like, call law enforcement for what? Any child knows who their mother is. What's his name? I'm telling the lady, like, so what's his name? So what's his name? This is your child. This is your son, right? So she flips it around to her phone and she's like, would I have pictures of him if he wasn't my son? Duh, you crazy lady. That's what I'm telling you, to delete the pictures of my son. This is my son. And then the people in the park were like, no, like that girl came in with the baby. But I was so upset at the park ranger because he was like, he kind of was believing her, like, well, that baby doesn't look like you and you're a black girl. And then here come these two Mexican girls that come down the hill and they're like, yeah. And he just was so confused. He didn't know what was going on. I was like, I'm black and Mexican. Like, this is my son. When my son was younger, his hair was more of like a sandy brown, super curly. Like he didn't get a hair. Kai didn't get a haircut for a while, so his hair was like long, like curly, like kind of locks. And he has green eyes. He's lighter skinned, but he looks identical to my mom. So I'm like, I was so upset that this woman, she was like crazy. And then they end up calling the police or whatever. The police get there, and I'm like I said, any child knows their mother. Kai clearly is looking like he don't know nothing that lady was talking about. I'm his mom. Yes, I'm the darker skinned mom with the lighter skinned child, which is kind of odd to people. I guess they're always used to like the lighter mom with the darker kids, but it's like different when you see the reverse. But like I said, I grew up going to this park forever. It was such. So I think I was at the part where, I was just giving you guys a rundown that this is the park that I grew up at. My cousins, like, it was such a coincidence that they were just like walking over the hill, and it was just like, oh my God, like, is this not allowed to be my son? But the lady was like crazy, and they had like all kind of stuff in her phone, and they were like it's kind of a good thing that me and her end up getting into like this altercation, because like, what if she was doing some kind of like, child trafficking or like real life kidnapping, and she clearly was like out of it. And I don't know if she was like working with somebody or what, but it was kind of like she was preying on the kids, like walking around with her phone out trying to see like what parents were paying attention. And I don't know why she chose my baby. I guess she chose my baby because like her response was, I'm a black girl with this light child. But she definitely tried the wrong one, okay? But my son is fine, so now I can laugh about it. I was in tears and ready to fight her though that day, but like now it's funny because I get it. Like, okay, you pick on the black girl with the light baby, all right. And then it was like, well, who's these girls coming down talking about that's their cousin? And then it was so bad they had to call the police on me. So I get it, but I don't see why it got to that point, because like I said, any child knows their mother. Any mother knows their child. She couldn't even tell you the baby's name. I got the stretch marks to prove it. Oh, you got his pictures from today in your phone. Like, it was nuts. But I guess they gave her the benefit of the doubt off colorism or something. I don't know. But everything ended up working out, and like the police and everybody, when everything was said and done, they were just like, oh my god, we can't believe this happened to you. Afterward, you know, I got apologies and stuff, but at first it was kind of like, well, how do you know him? He's my boy. But I just thought I'd share that little funny story with you guys, and hopefully I don't know, I'll think of something else to like talk about or something. I'm really a shy person, so it's hard for me to come up with these little videos and the little titles and stuff, but I'm breaking out my shell. So that was my little story time about how my son almost got kidnapped, but they thought I was a kidnapper. Bye.